The Babysitter murders was a series of grisly killings that occurred in the small town of Haddonfield, Illinois on the evening of October 31st, 1978. The perpetrator of the slayings was Michael Myers, an escaped mental patient who was being held at Smiths Grove, Warren County Sanitarium for the murder of his sister 15 years prior when he was just 6 years old. The case gained international attention at the time due to the unusually young age of the perpetrator.
This is a WWAR special bulletin.
Police in Haddonfield have just made the grisly discovery of 3 bodies. It appears that the murders took place sometime early this evening. Authorities have confirmed that all 3 of the victims are teenagers, 2 girls and a boy. Police are searching the entire area for a mental patient who escaped last night from the Smiths Grove, Warren County Sanitarium. This is Robert Mundy, live.
Michael Audrey Myers was born on October 19, 1957, to Donald Myers and Edith Myers. He had 1 sibling, an older sister named Judith. The family resided in a 2-story house at 45 Lambkin Lane in Haddonfield, an idyllic suburban town located in Livingston County, Illinois. On the evening of October 31st, 1963, his parents were out for the evening and he was at home with his sister Judith, who was supposed to be babysitting him, but instead had invited her boyfriend Daniel Hodges over and was spending her time with him. After Daniel left, Michael, dressed in a clown costume, went into the kitchen, picked up a kitchen knife, and walked up the stairs to Judith's room. On his way, he picked up a clown mask of the type pictured here off the floor and put it on. He then entered Judith's room and proceeded to stab her 9 times in the chest and stomach. The coroner's report concluded that Judith died quickly as a result of massive blood loss. He then quietly walked back downstairs and into the front yard, where he waited for his parents and the police to arrest him. He was committed to Smiths Grove Sanitarium, where he became the patient of Dr. Samuel Loomis, a resident psychiatrist at Smiths Grove. For an initial 6-month period, Dr. Loomis was charged with spending 4 hours a day in therapy sessions with his patient. All through his treatment, Michael remained mute and emotionless, detached from reality. Dr. Loomis, determined to find out why a boy of his age would commit such deadly violence, stated later in an interview with the Haddonfield Tribune that he soon became convinced that the boy was not insane, but in fact evil. He wrote the letter shown here to the members of the Patient Review Board of Smiths Grove and stated the following: "To keep him in a low-security institute such as Smiths Grove would place many lives in danger. I have no doubt that Michael is waiting in a self-imposed silence for the right time to escape and kill again." On May 1st, 1964, Loomis met with 2 superior doctors in a sanitarium's forum chamber. His recommendation was that Michael be confined forever in a maximum security facility located in Litchfield, Illinois. The 2 doctors denied his request, a decision that would come later under intense scrutiny due to the tragic events that followed. They declared that Michael was merely a catatonic exhibiting comatose behavior who does not react to his surroundings. They determined that Michael be remanded at Smiths Grove until his 21st birthday, when he would be tried as an adult for the murder of his sister. Here is a partial audio recording of that meeting.
Reading from a decision of Judge Walter Ward. I have no choice but to remand Michael Audrey Myers to the Smiths Grove, Warren County Sanitarium, where he shall be placed in the care of a resident psychiatrist who shall report to this court no less than twice a year. Further, Michael Audrey Myers shall be brought before the court on the day of his 21st birthday, where he shall be tried as an adult for the murder of his sister, Judith Margaret Myers. Dr. Loomis?
Michael Myers must be removed from the sanitarium immediately. I would suggest the maximum security ward at Litchfield.
Dr. Loomis, the decision has been made.
But this is a minimum security institution. The staff isn't adequately prepared.
Prepared for what? The boy is a catatonic. He exhibits comatose behavior. No reaction to external stimuli.
Have you read my notes?
Yes, we have, Doctor.
Why were they not presented at the hearing?
The judge requested Dr. Foster's analysis.
I've spent 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day with this boy. Every day. For 6 months. Far longer than any court psychiatrist.
Dr. Loomis.
Michael Myers is the most dangerous patient I have ever observed.
Doctor, there is no diagnostic evidence to support that statement.
He's covering up. This catatonia is a conscious act. There's an instinctive force within him. He's waiting.
Michael remained at Smith's Grove until the night of October 30th, 1978. That night, he destroyed his room before breaking out and releasing the other patients from their rooms. At the same time, Dr. Loomis and nurse Marion Chambers were arriving at the facility to transfer Michael, who was now 21, for his court hearing as an adult for the murder of his sister. Noticing the patients roaming around outside the hospital, Dr. Loomis got out of the car to investigate, and Michael attacked Marion and sped away in their Ford LTD station wagon pictured here. He then drove through the night east across Illinois to Haddonfield, an approximately 150-mile drive. 73 miles out from Haddonfield, Michael committed his first murder since he was a child. Christopher Hastings, a 43-year-old mechanic who worked locally at the Phelps garage, was run off the road and stabbed to death as he drove to work. Police put the time of death as approximately 7 a.m. Michael stole his mechanic's boiler suit, which was of the type pictured here. He changed out of his hospital gown, leaving it at the scene, and dragged the body into some nearby brush. He then continued driving to Haddonfield. Dr. Loomis would later recount in a police interview that he believed Michael would return to Haddonfield to recreate the murder of his sister on Halloween night 15 years earlier, so he drove there from Smith's Grove in the morning. His first stop was Haddonfield Cemetery with the intent of visiting Judith Myers' grave. He discovered that her headstone was now missing, confirming his suspicion that Michael was somewhere in Haddonfield. He then made contact with law enforcement to inform them of the situation. He spoke to Sheriff Lee Brackett, pictured here, who is still a police officer to this day. At 3:23 p.m., Sheriff Brackett responded to a call about a break-in at Nichols' hardware store. Accompanied by his deputies, he determined that only a few items had been stolen, including a mask, a length of rope, and a knife. The mask was of the type pictured here, which it was later discovered Michael had worn throughout his killing spree. There were several reports made to police of a masked man in blue coveralls acting suspiciously throughout the day, and the police put out a BOLO or be on the lookout alert for Michael. Dr. Loomis's next stop was the Myers house, which had been abandoned since the murder of Judith. Inside, he found a partially eaten dog which he believed Michael had killed and eaten. He decided to stay put and wait for Michael, thinking he would at some point return again to the Myers house. Michael had other plans, however, and had already begun stalking his first victim that night. Annie Brackett, the daughter of Sheriff Brackett, was a 17-year-old student who attended Haddonfield High School and was known for her sarcastic sense of humor. Annie occasionally babysat children in her neighborhood, and that night was babysitting Lindsay Wallace at the Wallace residence. At 7:34 p.m., Annie escorted Lindsay across the road to the Doyle residence, where her friend and fellow Haddonfield High School student Laurie Strode was babysitting 8-year-old Tommy Doyle. Annie then returned to the Wallace house to get in her car and go and pick up her boyfriend, Paul Friedman. Michael was waiting for her in her car, however, and after she got in the driver's seat, he attacked her from the back seat and killed her. She was found with bruising around her neck, consistent with being choked, and then her neck was sliced open with a butcher knife, later identified as a knife stolen from Nichols' hardware store. Michael then carried the lifeless Annie into the Wallace house and hid her body. His next two victims were Linda Vanderklok and Robert Sims, both also students at Haddonfield High School and friends of Annie. They arrived at the Wallace house at 8:02 p.m. to have sex in one of the bedrooms as Annie babysat Lindsay. When they arrived, they found the house seemingly empty and proceeded with their plan. Forensic evidence suggests Michael waited hidden in the downstairs area of the house and first killed Robert after he went downstairs to get a beer. He was stabbed once in the chest with the same butcher knife, pinning him to the pantry door. His body was later found hanging upside down upstairs. It had been suspended from the ceiling. It then appears he proceeded upstairs, and then at 8:43 p.m. choked Linda to death with the phone cord as she made a call to Laurie, who was still babysitting at the Doyle house across the road. He then placed Annie Brackett's body on the bed in the master bedroom and put his sister's tombstone at the head of the bed, which criminal psychiatrists believe was a grim attempt by Michael to relive his sister Judith's murder. Laurie, not sure if the phone call was a prank, became suspicious something was wrong and went across the road to investigate. She discovered the bodies, and Michael, who was still in the house, attempted to stab her, missing and grazing her shoulder. She then ran back to the Doyle house with Michael pursuing her, and he attacked her once again. She managed to stab him once in the neck with a knitting needle, a second time with a clothes hanger in the eye, and the third time in the stomach with a butcher knife he had dropped. In the meantime, Dr. Loomis had found the stolen Smithsgrove Sanitarium car on the street and heard the commotion coming from the Doyle house. He ran inside and found Michael upstairs attempting to choke Laurie to death. Loomis, who was armed with a Smith & Wesson Model 15 similar to the one seen here, shot 6 times, hitting Michael in the chest and causing him to fall off the outdoor balcony into the backyard. He then escaped the scene on foot. Police presume he died of his injuries, but after an extensive manhunt, his body was never found, leading to speculation as to whether he actually died. Dr. Loomis, who still believed Michael to be alive, was obsessed with finding him and spent the remainder of his life attempting to track him down. Samuel Loomis died of natural causes in 1995. He was 73. Laurie, the sole survivor of the murders, has spent the last 40 years in hiding, living under a new identity, presumably dealing with PTSD and her fear that Michael is still alive and will one day return.